Hi everybody, tonight we're going to get started with a recipe that's going to take about a week to finish, but the product is well worth the wait. Today we're going to start some home cured bacon. So what you want to start with is about a 5.5 pound slab of pork belly. You can get this from your local butcher, and you're going to need to make a rub that's going to sit on this meat and cure over the week to develop the flavor in your bacon. If you will go ahead and get all of your ingredients out and just pre-measure them so that it's easy to combine them, you'll find yourself actually saving a lot of time not having to go back and recheck your recipe over and over. So we have our ingredients, so we're going to combine these in my mortar and pestle. And the first thing that we're going to do is make a rub to go on the outside of this bacon so it develops some flavor over the time that it's sitting in the fridge. And we're going to start with a 1/4 cup of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of pink curing salt. Now sometimes this stuff is kind of hard to find. You can go online. There's a website called Spiceology. This stuff is easy to get there, but it's hard to find sometimes in stores. Next, you need a 1/4 cup brown sugar. Sometimes people like the deep flavor of the dark brown sugar. We tend to use the light brown sugar. Then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of red pepper flake. Sounds a little odd for bacon, but it's wonderful. Next, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of smoked sweet paprika. And the last ingredient for our rub is going to be 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. These are not ground up. And we're just going to put those in the pestle. Now, we're going to work it a little bit, but the goal is not necessarily to crush the cumin seeds or anything like that. You just kind of want to get those flavors all mixed together, get those red pepper flakes incorporated. After you get that all incorporated, it's going to be kind of a grainy mixture, and that is 100% A-OK. You want to make sure that anytime that you are working with a raw protein, you want to wash it first. And then we're putting a dry rub on here, so we want to go through and just pat both sides dry. It doesn't have to be perfectly bone dry, but you want to get that excess moisture off. You want enough moisture to help hold your rub on, but not so much that it actually starts oozing out. So we're just going to take our rub and just very liberally we're going to cover both sides. And you really do want to rub. You don't have to scour it into the meat, but you do want to just rub that mixture all over and give it a good work in. You don't want it to fall off when we get ready to put it in the refrigerator. And you do want to make sure that you touch the edges with your rub as well. That's flavor. Okay, once your meat is rubbed, what you're going to do is you're going to prepare it to actually go into the refrigerator for 7 to 10 days. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to put it in a vacuum seal bag, but I'm not going to vacuum out the air. I want it to be able to breathe and leach. So let's take that step next. So pork bellies are a little bit floppy when they're fresh, and sometimes it's kind of hard to finagle into the bag. One tip that we have tried the past several times that we've done this is to actually leave it on the cutting board and just bend that cutting board. And let it help you guide the pork belly, sorry, into the bag. And then simply take your cutting board back out. And from here it's super simple. Like I said, I'm not going to vacuum pack it, but I do want to seal it. So I'm just going to put it into my vacuum packer. And instead of hitting vacuum seal, I'm just going to hit seal. So now our pork belly is sealed in here. We're going to put it in the refrigerator. We're going to turn it once a day for 7 days. You can let it sit 7 to 10 days, and then from there it's going to go to the smoker. Okay, so guys, every day while your bacon is working on its 7 to 10 day cure, you want to just make sure that you flip it over. And the longer that it starts to cure, you'll notice that it starts to get a little bit more firm, and that is perfect. Our pork belly has been sitting in the refrigerator for 7 days. What we're going to do today is we're going to take it out. We're going to give it a really good rinse. We're going to remove this thick rind because you don't want to have, you know, that really tough section on your bacon. And it's going to sit in the refrigerator for 48 hours before it hits the smoker. To trim the rind, you just want to take a steak knife and just kind of run it underneath the skin. You want to take that hard exterior layer off, but you want to leave that fat. Okay, so the pork belly has been sitting for a while. We're going to fire up the pellet smoker and get this thing going. So today we're using our pellet smoker. You want to set it to about 200 degrees, and we're going to let the pork belly sit in here for about 3 hours. And we want to try to reach that internal temperature of 150 degrees. So we've been cooking for a while, and we've got about 10 degrees to go before we hit our internal temperature, so it won't be long. Our internal temperature finally reached 150 and we've pulled it off. We're going to let this rest, cool off a little bit, and then we'll be ready to slice it up to make homemade bacon. Alright everyone, what I've done is I have taken the pork belly, it cooled to room temperature, and then I set it in the refrigerator for a couple hours to let it get cold. If you slice it while it's cold, it will be much easier. It won't be quite as floppy. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to use our slicer to get some nice slices, and then this bacon will be ready to cook and enjoy for breakfast. So we've got our bacon sliced up, and I've decided to go ahead and just slice just regular thin slices. Notice that it came out with a rather large piece of bacon. If you're going to be cooking this in the microwave or in a cast iron skillet, you may want to cut these pieces in half to make them fit a little bit better. If you're cooking them on the griddle, just leave it whole. If you are cooking this on a cast iron skillet or a griddle, one thing that will really help is having a bacon press, because fresh bacon does tend to try to curl up. Now when I was slicing this, our pork belly had some irregular edges, and there were some places that it was just hard to get a full good slice. Don't throw this away. Put this in a freezer bag, put it in the freezer, and then this winter when you make beans, put this in there. It is wonderful flavor. One of my favorite tricks for getting something that's a little bit floppy into a seal bag is to just place it on a plastic cutting board. And then you can just slide the end of the cutting board into your sealer bag. These are a little sticky. Flop it over, loosen it up, pull it back out, and you're ready to seal. So we've got our bacon all put into the vacuum pack storage bags, and from here you can take it, put it straight in the freezer, put it in the refrigerator, fry some up tomorrow. You can do all different size packages, from really big family size all the way down to emergency grilled cheese with bacon size. And don't forget those little irregular pieces that are left over. Go ahead and save those. These will be wonderful flavoring when you're doing cooking later in the winter time. Now, something that you may want to think about, if you're just going to throw that pork rind away, if your family loves dried beans, especially in the wintertime, what you can do is take that pork rind, take that skin, put it in a gallon of water with about a 1/4 cup of kosher salt, boil it down for about an hour, hour and a half. You can throw the rind away, but you're going to be left with this amazing pork stock. And when you're making dried beans, if you'll add that instead of water, it will add so much more flavor. I hope you enjoyed this recipe on how to make home smoked bacon. And as always, if you enjoy these recipes, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks, guys.